Hello, my name is What I Am. I am an esoteric subject matter author and a writer, and I'm a truck driver, and a number of other things. I'm doing this video on meditation. This is going to be my meditation video. I'm also a mystic. Some people say a wizard, a magician, other titles like that, and old school scientists, that type of thing. But anyway, I wanted to talk about meditation, how I started meditating, and about the importance of meditation in your life, in my life, and the reasons why you should meditate. First, I'm going to read a definition of meditation before I get into my thoughts about meditation. Meditation is a practice where an individual uses a technique such as mindfulness or focusing their mind on a particular object, thought, or activity to train attention and awareness and achieve a mentally clear and emotionally calm and stable state. Scholars have found meditation difficult to define as practices vary both between traditions and within them. Within the traditions, the practices of meditation and etc., they differ. Some of the earliest written records of meditation come from the Hindu traditions of Vedantism. Meditation has been practiced since antiquity in numerous religious traditions and beliefs, often as part of the path towards enlightenment and self-realization. And, this is where meditation is important in that path toward enlightenment and self-realization. Let me put this down here so you can see me a little better. Most people would be saying, why are you wearing a hat in the house anyway? Exactly. My mother would slap me for having a hat on. Meditation is used as part, of the path toward enlightenment and self-realization. Self-realization, that's an important statement, and important two words: self-realization. It implies that in your normal life and in your normal walk, you haven't realized yourself, and that's important. A seeker would run into a statement like that, like self-realization, and it would raise questions. What do they mean by self-realization? What are they talking about? And then it would start them on a path toward finding out what self-realization is. When you're a seeker and when you're searching for enlightenment, knowledge, and wisdom, Uh, things like self-realization, enlightenment, these things catch your eye, they catch your attention, and they send you down different paths, looking and searching for what it is you're trying to find. Okay. Since the 19th century, it has been spread from its origins to other cultures where it is commonly practiced in private and business life. So it's been spread, meditation has been spread from its origins, which would be in Hindu religion, and ancient Egyptian practice, and different things. It's gone from its origins out of the religious community into private life, private life, people's personal lives, and into the business life where people are meditating for different reasons, for stress relief, short breaks during the day and different things like that, to get rest and refreshment from, the everyday stresses of life and etc., and get a clear view of what's next, that type of thing. A nap in the day, so to speak. Slow down the process, and then move forward after your meditation period with a clearer mind and direction. Meditation may be used with the aim of reducing stress, anxiety, depression, and pain, and increasing peace, perception, self-concept, and well-being. Meditation is under research to define its possible health, psychological, neurological, and cardiovascular and other effects. So, there's still research in meditation, but for the most part, everybody will tell you that meditation is good and it's not harmful to you. And I even go as far as to say that sleep is a form of meditation. So everybody meditates, whether you understand you're meditating or not. Sleep is a form of meditation. And most, let's say everybody, for this particular video, has to have sleep in order to function properly. Let's put it that way. In order to function properly, you have to get some rest, get some sleep. Okay, and there are different types of meditation. You have transcendental meditation, which I'll read a little bit about that. Transcendental meditation. They call it TM. It refers to a specific form of silent mantra meditation, and less commonly to the organizations that constitute the transcendental meditation movement. So TM meditation is a form of meditation where you're using a silent mantra of some kind, and saying that mantra over and over and over in your mind, and etc. The TM technique involves the use of a sound called a mantra and is practiced for 15 to 20 minutes twice per day. It is taught by certified teachers through a standard course of instruction, which costs a fee that varies by country. According to the Transcendental Meditation Movement, it is a non-religious method for relaxation, stress reduction, and self-development. The technique has been seen as both religious and non-religious. Sociologists, scholars, and a New Jersey judge in court are among those who have expressed views on it being religious or non-religious. The United States Court of Appeals upheld the federal ruling that TM was essentially religious in nature and therefore could not be taught in public schools. I guess somebody wanted to teach it in public schools, and it went to the courts, and the courts decided that it was religious in nature and it shouldn't be taught in public schools. Although there are different schools that do teach meditation, transcendental meditation, and other forms of meditation. They're private schools. You have mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness means maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness of our thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and surrounding environment through a gentle, nurturing lens. Mindfulness also involves acceptance, meaning that we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings without judging them, without believing, for instance, that there's a right or wrong way to think or feel in a given moment. When we practice mindfulness, our thoughts tune into what we're sensing in the present moment rather than rehashing the past or imagining the future. In a mindfulness meditation, you relax, you close your eyes and etc. And you observe what's passing, passing thoughts, passing visions, just things that are passing. And you can sit back and observe the kinds of things that are coming across your mind. And, there'll be all kinds of things that go across your mind. Things that you may desire, things that just come out of nowhere where you have no reason to have these thoughts at all, that you can't put your finger on where they came from. That you may even be thinking the thoughts of somebody nearby, where you've tuned into what they're thinking, what they're transmitting mentally into the ether and into the atmosphere, and you can pick that up and be thinking, be seeing those thoughts, and wonder like, where the hell did that come from? Because it can be some, like they said, don't judge it. Don't put a good or a bad on it. Just observe. But it can be anything. It can be criminal. It can be taboo. It can be, regular thoughts, of a peaceful nature. But it can be anything, that comes across the mind. And as you're doing mindfulness meditation, and you're watching the thoughts that are coming across and listening and seeing what you're seeing, then you just become conscious and aware that you are the observer of these things that are taking place in your mind, in the mind, that you are observing thoughts and visions and actions and situations going on in the head. You're listening. Well, who's listening? Who's watching? Thoughts are so minute and non-physical, but there's a person or a thing there that can pick up on thoughts and observe those thoughts. What is that? That is observing the thoughts and looking at the visions and etc. What is that is surveying the smallest details? What is that thing? And this is where meditation really comes in. Like they said, you get to the path. It's a step in the path to enlightenment and self-realization. And this is where you come in contact in meditation with yourself, with your true being behind the mental process of universe and world and life. It's all a mental process that has evolved over an eon of time, I'll say for now. But you really can't call it time. It just evolved. It could have been billions and billions of years to get to this stage in thought. But it doesn't matter, it's like billions of years could be a second, or a second could be billions of years, when you're dealing with eternity and infinity and things constantly being. So whenever something else is made or created in a space of time, then even though it might seem like it was a long time, it took 1 billion years for that to happen. As eternity lives on, the billion gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until 1 billion is nothing. It's no more than a split second. And that's just the way that goes when we talk about evolution, in particular with with universe and perception, and the way this thing has come from the mind to produce what appears to be, a world and a lot of things going on, and billions of people. You got planets and different things going on, and all kinds of different forms of life. And even the rocks are alive. Nothing is still. Everything is vibrating. And at its core, although it appears to be solid, everything appears to be solid, and it all has rules, and laws to make it all work, and to make it all an experience. Down in its base and down in its core, it's nothing. It's empty space. That's what I say for now. It's empty space. It's fluff. It's information under law and under rule. It's 5 cents information, sense information, so that when it's put together and analyzed, when this information is put together and analyzed, from your 5 different senses, smell, taste, hearing, touch, and sight, it comes in at different frequency ranges, the information in the grid, and then it's projected, combined and projected to produce a world. Even your body and everything is information that's projected, and it's projected. It's a frequency with a lot of information in it. In the frequency, information about who you are, information about everything about you. Your hand size, the size of you, color of your skin, eye color, hair texture. Every small detail. Hereditary information. All of this is in the frequency that produces your body when it's projected. And that information is projected into the grid, into this grid. So now you're in from the projection, the mental projection, and then there's 5 sense information that is fed to the carrier frequency, which is your body frequency, and then the 5 sense information is projected out from the carrier frequency, and that's where your life comes into play. You have a world to move around in with your body and etc. And under the laws and rules and everything, you can make a life and have an experience and have a family and travel the world and do things and experience pain and suffering and experience joy and love and the bliss of living. You can have all of that, based on this mental machination that is the machination and the mental machine of a single intelligence. A single intelligence that is behind every point of view. Every point of view. Even though it seems like, there are a billion people here. Everybody's doing something different in the same world and everything. We have a grid, an information grid. And everybody is picking up the same 5 sense information frequencies. All of the carrier frequencies. But those frequencies are not being projected exactly the same to produce the same exact world. So even though we have a lot of common things in our world, no two worlds are the same, as no two people are exactly the same. The information to produce the person is not exactly the same. You might see somebody identical twins, and you don't know it, but the information that produces them is different, and they're projecting the 5 sense information different. So colors might be different. What they're hearing might not be exactly the same. Smell, taste, all of these things can be different, but you are projecting the same information and moving in the same information grid and thinking that everything's the same, that you're seeing the same. Depth perception might not be the same. There's so many things that can be different. But from your point of view, all you know is what you know. From their point of view, all they know is what they know. And, hey, we're all together, we're in the same room. Boom, that type of thing. So, we tend to say that this person is in the same world that I am. And, yeah, they're projecting the same information that you're projecting, but it may be projected a little different. So it's not exactly the same world. For example, some people may not be projecting sight information. They may be blind. So they're not seeing what you're seeing. Others may not be hearing what you're hearing, or hearing what you're hearing to the degree that you're hearing it, smelling what you're smelling to the degree what you're smelling it. There are differences in the way the information is being projected, and etc. And I hope I've sort of made that kind of clear, but to make it even more clear, let me say that there is a single intelligence or source. Some people say God. There's God. This intelligence, this source, has created a mental machination of illusion where it comes through in different points of consciousness, which we call people and animals and different things in different forms of life. It comes through in these forms of consciousness. And it has a multitude of lives going on. And all of this information is being fed to the same source, the same intellect, the same God, that you might say, from every point as an experience. It's almost like the carrier frequencies and etc. are nerve endings, so to speak, leading back to the one mind, the source, the intellect. And it all leads back to that one source as a form of entertainment and exercise for the one mind, the one intellect that there is. And that's all there is. The one intelligence and intellect. And then there's the illusion of a world, the illusion of a universe, the illusion of life and duality, the illusion of other things other than the intelligence. And the things themselves that are illusory, they're mental. All of this is mental. It's mental. It's all in your mind. It's all in the mind. And being in the mind, it can be mentally manipulated by the mind. It's information in the mind. It's under rules and limitations and boundaries set by the mind. And the mind has the ability to break the rules, to bend the rules, to do whatever. But the thing is, the way that people come into the world, and you come in as an observer, you're always observing your mental creation. Just observing. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, it's not real, right? So, you ever seen like the eye? Let me show you on my hat. Let's see if you could see that. Yeah, you see the eye, the Egyptian eye that they have on the walls and the temples and different things. And everybody's seen that eye. Is that eye on your dollar bill? I don't recall. Maybe it's at the top of the pyramid on a dollar bill. Sometimes it's on that, the eye. This is the eye. This is a symbol. That's what we call it. This here is a symbol of something. That symbol is a symbol of consciousness. Okay? Like the eye, it's like, it's always looking. It's always like, there it is. What is it doing? It's looking. It's observing. It's wide open, 24/7, 365. Observing. Just watching the process. And that's what that symbol is about. And even on my hat, my logo, as you can see, inside the pupil of the eye, there's a 1, a number 1. And then you have the eye, the whole eye, the 1 in the pupil, and the eye, and then the bottom part down. Let me show you. The bottom part, where this part comes in, is am. So basically in my logo, you're looking at 1 I am on the logo. It's spelled out under the hat. 1 I am. And then you can see it says Esoteric Excellence. And the Esoteric Excellence is about me revealing what's going on. Okay? Basically what's going on. The real deal. Not church. Not any religion. The real deal. So you have a single entity that is observing its own mental, and it's an entity of intellect. You can't put a handle on it. It's just intelligence, intellect. And it's observing its own mental creation, its own illusion. And it's interacting with its illusion. Making it work. Okay? Making it work through every point of observation. It's doing a little here and a little there, and a little here and a little there, and it's making the world go around, so to speak. And it's all mental, so mental thoughts are going in to the process, and then the process is grinding that up and kicking it back out to be projected into what appears to be this solid situation. So the thoughts, you're having thoughts, the thoughts are going in, and then they're being projected back out. So your future is coming from your present thoughts. That's important. That's an important piece to remember, that your future is coming from your present thoughts and beliefs and what you're focusing on. Because let me tell you, the person, this right here, is the information. It's part of the mental information. It's fluff. It's not the frequencies that produce the information. And it's not the information itself in the mind. It's the projection of the information under the rules and laws that it should be, so that it's all solid and you're able to work within and do your thing. You see what I'm saying? So the reality is the intelligence behind the illusion, behind the process. And that's you, the intelligence behind the process. The thing, the problem you're having is that, by being acclimated into this mental process from, a young stage, when you come in from birth, and then you go through the acclimation of the rules and the regulations, and you're brought in up under the, the evolution of the information. You sort of lose yourself in the process. And you start to believe that you are the personage, the character that's growing, the character that's, started off tit sucking, and, it went from that to walking, and from that, 5 years, and you're going to school, and then, you're going through all the processes and all the steps that we go through, to get to adulthood. And by the time you're an adult in this process, you don't remember who you are. You don't understand what's going on. You have no recollection of the process itself. And you kind of flipped inside out in your own mind, believing that you are a person rather than an intellect, rather than a mind. You're believing that you're an individual, a small individual in a large world, not understanding that you are all there is, all there ever will be, the Alpha, the Omega, and everything in between, before, after, whatever it is, you're it. And this tiny, dusty little universe, not galaxy, not solar system, but this tiny little universe that all of it's in is sitting somewhere like down here somewhere in the corner of your mind. In the corner of your mind, while you are this massive everything. And that universe is a small little creation in your mind. And you think that you're in one of those tiny galaxies, in one of those tiny solar systems, on one of those tiny planets, in one of those small countries among millions and millions of people in your country. You believe you're one individual. And hey, I'm just a man. What can I do? I'm just one man. I'm just one woman. It's a big world. That's where you're at. That's where you're at, in your own mind, in your own mental activity. And, that's what the law of attraction and all of this other stuff about, the mental situation, where it's all leading. It's leading you back to yourself, back to your own being. And it's trying to get you to see that you can tweak the process. You can break all the rules. You can bend the rules. You can make whatever you want happen just with your thoughts, because you are the source behind the process, and it's your process. It's your process. Everything that's in your consciousness right now, everything belongs to you. Everything you can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. You look across the street and you say, well, that's Joe Blow's house over there. That's his, this, that, and the other. Everybody else has got this. He's got that. He's got everything that's in your consciousness belongs to you. No matter how it's lined up and what's going on and what kind of themes are playing down here in your own mental illusion, it belongs to you. So any changes you want to make, you can make the changes. And it's not like you can't have what it is that you want. Because like if everybody get that, then it's just not possible for everybody to have. Why not? Everybody can have whatever they want. You just have to know how to get it. You just have to wake up to your own being, understand what you really are, and how to, and understand how to get the things that you want, from yourself, from your own being. Tap into the source of this mental machination, which is you, and call for what you want. Now, you might be in a bad situation. You might be facing foreclosure. You might be without a car. You might be just having bad circumstances. You might be in an abusive relationship, getting punched out or whatever. You might be low income and different things like that. Now, as a result of being acclimated into the process and believing that you are this information here that is upgoing, that is up under all of these different stresses and etc. Then, as a result of that belief, you may be being led in your thoughts by the situation and circumstances. You're being led by those thoughts. So the more you think, I don't have this and I don't have that, and this is not going right for me, and things are just, I don't have a job, and the governor just, cut my food stamps, and if I don't fill out the paperwork over here, then they're going to cut me off of Section 8, and this, that, and the other. I mean, all of these thoughts you're thinking. You are the master of the universe, calling for what it is that you want to have. And the process, the mental process, this machination is just sitting, waiting for your commands, your mental commands. And when it gets your mental commands, it goes to work, making it happen. Whatever they are. It doesn't matter what they are. The process goes to work to make it happen. It's your process. So you're thinking, I don't have, I'm lacking, I'm this, that. The process is only going to obey what it's getting from you. So you're going to get more lack, more not having. It's going to give you whatever it thinks you want based on what you're mentally putting in to the process. It obeys. It's faithful. It trusts in you. It belongs to you. It obeys 100% all the time. No matter what is coming across. So, if you think you're in a bad way and this, that, and the other, and you're having these problems and you got all these thoughts about, I'm, just unlucky and I don't have this and I don't have that. And let me tell you, when you look at your circumstances inside of this information grid, and as a result of the thoughts and everything you've been having and that are within you, you're not going to have those. You don't have it. You don't have the money. Your car's beat up. Your rent's due. You got half of it maybe. You don't know where the other half is coming from. You're already thinking of an excuse for the landlord. All this is in the mind. It's going into the process. And the process is getting that, and it's going to produce your future. Boom. It's going to feed you more projection. Boom. Based on what it's been getting. It obeys. It loves you. It gives you what you're calling for. Because it figures that's what you need in here. I mean, why else would you have made the process? If it's not going to give you what you don't need and what you're not asking for. You understand? It's going to give you what you need, what you're asking for. Knock, ask, and you shall receive. You understand? You just got to be careful of what you're asking for and what you're going to receive. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just the way the process works. So even though things may be looking bad for you, and you might be in a tight situation, you might be squatting a house right now, okay? But it does not matter what the present information is. It's just information. It's just circumstance inside the illusionary matrix. It's just information aligned in a certain way. Okay? And it's responding to you. It's on your beck and call. So even though it is what it is, if you want it to be different, all you have to do is think it's different. It doesn't matter what it is presently. If in your mind you can think it's different, you can visualize it different, and believe what you're visualizing in your mind. Believe it. Think it's different and believe. See yourself in a fully furnished mansion with the best furniture. Some of the stuff you've seen on YouTube, Sotheby's. See yourself in a Bentley, driving, down pristine roads, with no potholes and different things like that. See yourself with a pocket full of money. Visualize yourself. Stop saying I'm broke, because you're not. Everything in your consciousness belongs to you. And there's nothing anyway. It's all fluff. It's all illusionary fluff for an intellect that has no physical attributes or anything. Just an intellect. And the stuff itself is mental. It's made of nothing. It's space under law and under rule to make an illusion of a world. So, if you're in a bad situation, in bad circumstances, train your mind to think differently. Think that you're in better circumstances. Things are going well. I have money. Money comes to me from several sources. I've got irons in the fire everywhere. Money is coming in. I got money in my bank account. Believe it. Just say it. Just believe it. And this process, this mental process that's feeding on what you're giving it, it's feeding on what you're giving it, what you're believing, what your focus is. Even though your situation might be presently looking bad, guess what? If you visualize different than what it is, and you believe, and you focus, and this is what you're calling for in your mind, then the process can do nothing but deliver on what you're giving it. Because that's what it does. It delivers on what it receives from you, the source behind the process. And I said all that to say that that's what meditation is about. Meditation is about getting behind the process and, tapping back into your own being, your own reality, the source behind the process. And then seeing the process for what it is, for what it truly is. And then, I know a lot, basically, from what I'm saying, I know that you've got the concept that, oh, wow, what he's saying I'm God. I'm God. And, I can do this and I can do that. And, that's a step forward. But more than that, I'm saying you're going to get to know your reality, the reality of yourself, And then, when you get behind that, then, all the God concepts and the superstitious devils and gods and different things like that, they become a part of the process, a part of what's going on in the mental matrix, because once you see the matrix and once you see this illusion for what it is, let me ask you this. What is there to be God of? Is there anything to be God of? It's in your mind, and it's an illusion. Okay? And when you leave that point of observation and reconnect with the source, are you taking any of the toys with you that you collected here in your 80 or 90 years or less from so many of us? Are you taking any of the toys that you've been able to collect? You know, I don't care whether you're a millionaire, billionaire, or whatever. You know, how many Bugattis you got, how many mansions you have, you know, how many private jets, yachts, whatever. Listen, the sun belongs to me. While you're talking about your yacht, I don't have time for the little games and the little minds, you know, that are stuck in personage. I'm just saying, there's nothing to be God of. It's all an illusion. There is no duality. All there is you. You're it. I am. I am that I am. And it can't be any other way. You can't even be dead. You can't be dead. You can't be alive. I mean, all of these are concepts in the illusion based on the rules and everything with the different frequencies that are being projected. The concepts, you know, they make some kind of reality happen inside the process that the mind can entertain and exercise itself with. But you are the intellect behind the whole illusion, and there's nothing to get other than the thrill, the pop of it. The pop of it. But you're not getting that. I mean, you're getting it, but you're not getting it like you want it, because you're letting the process lead your thoughts instead of you visualizing and leading the process to give you what it is that you want. You've got the process running like a runaway freight train, out of control. And that's why I'm here, coming to you from this point of view, this angle. What I am, esoteric excellence, which basically means I'm going to wake you up. I'm going to wake you up to your real being. And then you can have the life you will, and not the one that the smart guys have created for you through television, mass media, and different ways to control your thoughts. Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about how I got into meditation. You know, I was into Christianity. I was raised in a Christian family and everything. My grandmother was very Christian, very religious. So was my grandfather. Church every Sunday, in Sunday school, everything. My mother was the same way, even when she, got out of their house and everything and got on her own. She was Christian, Jesus and everything, this, that, and the other. And I was deeply involved in that growing up. But as I got into my teenage years and everything, I stopped going to church and, started doing other things, although I still had those beliefs as my base. And rather than meditation, we would pray, pray to an external God that was up above, in heaven, God and Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. All of these things were away from me, but I could pray and they would hear my prayer, hopefully. And that's the way, we came up in our family. But like I said, I stopped going to church. I was going through a lot of different things. And just something wasn't clicking right. Something was telling me I'm missing something. And I started to search and to seek answers. I started to know why. Look at the whole process. Look at the world. Look at your life. Look at everything that's going on. Why is it happening? Why? What's it about? Don't just like I was born. I grew up. I went to school. I graduated. I got a job. I pay my taxes. I'm going to eat dinner tonight, go to bed, wake up tomorrow, have my life. Why is it happening? What's it all about? Don't you want to know? Don't you have any curiosity at all as to why you're here and what's this all about? And when you basically look at the whole thing, it's like you eat, you take a crap, you go to sleep, you wake up, you eat, you take a crap, you go to sleep, you wake up, you eat. You see what I'm saying? Over and over. Kind of cycle, like circular in a cycle. And then you look around and you see a lot of cycles, day and night. You see the growth cycles where a baby comes in as an infant, toddler, child, then, and a teen, an adolescent, a teen or whatever, a young adult, and then you go into middle age. It's all cycles. It's like you come into life, you die. It's the up and down. It's the cycle, moving. You look at the seasons, cycles from spring, summer, fall, winter. It's just all cycles, and And I'm just observing, just back observing all of it. I mean, I'm playing along, I'm playing my part and everything, just like you are. But at the same time, back behind the process, I'm looking and I'm wondering, what is this about? What's going on? And then that set me on a path, you know. And it was like in 1998 when I got my first computer. I bought a Hewlett Packard computer, and it was a tower, a little stand-up tower, and a monitor. And the monitor, you know, one of those long back monitors with the tubes and everything inside. The long monitor. I guess they ate up a bunch of energy and stuff too. Those computers. And anyway, I hooked that up to the internet at that time in '98, and the internet was real slow. You know, the internet speed, and it came through the phone line, through the telephone line. So when you were on the internet, you couldn't receive phone calls. You couldn't do both at the same time. And at that time, there weren't any cell phones, anything like that I can remember in '98. I think we were still, I don't even know if they had pagers yet. Maybe they did back in that day. It wasn't that long ago, but I do remember having a pager, but it was like 2000 or something. I had a pager. So maybe they were around, but they weren't that popular and plentiful. Cell phones and etc. I remember we used to see these big cell phones. They would be big, about so big, and they had this big black antenna on them. And they would be in some of the cars that are ultra rich and ultra wealthy, or either on a James Bond film or something. And they would break out this thing, you know, and be holding it, and they'd be talking on it, you know, like with no cords and no wireless, you know, because we had the wired telephones, and that's all it was. But that wireless stuff was like, wow, whoa, you know, unbelievable. Look at the gadgets these guys have, you know, and it was really something to see all that. But I got my first computer in '98, and then I hooked it up to the internet, and I started looking around on the internet, you know, and it opened up a world of information to me, and I was immediately hooked on the net. You know, I knew right off that the net was going to be big, that the internet was going to be big. You know, I could see it as small as it was at the time, and you know, the websites and stuff were just being developed, and different things were coming on, and you know, it hadn't opened up at all to where it is today. It was just like, okay, I see you coming. I see you coming. I saw it. But even before the internet, you know, I was in Lawrence Tech in the '90s, in the early '90s, like '93, '94, and it might have been '92. But I think it was '93, '94, right around in there. And I was going to Lawrence Tech Technological University in Southfield, Michigan. And they all gave us a computer account. And they had a computer lab at the university. And it was called like the BitNet. And we were able, we weren't hooked up to the internet or anything. It was like closed circuit internet, so to speak, between universities. So I would be able to get on the BitNet and speak with people in other universities in other states, log onto my account, and we would talk, scientific stuff, and debate, questions around physics and different things. And you look at physics, you'll find out a lot about physics, that there's a lot of unknowns in physics, and the physics deals with the knowns, what you know. This is what we know. Like light, for example. What is light? What is it? I don't know, right? They don't know. But they do know that, it scatters in the fog. You know what I'm saying? Certain things about it that you know about it. So you're able to work with it based on what you know about it. But everything that you know about it is based on what you don't know. And that's the state of what science is in at the present time. And they're still moving, still learning, now moving into the quantum physics and in that area, understanding how physics is responding to consciousness. Okay? So they're starting to see that connection, the connection between consciousness and what they call physics, which is actually the rules, regulations, and the information in the mind. So, they'll get there in time. It's a process. So, but what I was saying is that I got that computer and everything, and it opened up a world of information to me. And then, while I was in my search through different information, I stopped just doing Christianity, and I looked at Islam, I looked at Hinduism, I looked at Buddhism, I looked in all kinds of religion. Let me tell you, I found a lot of good things going on about Eastern religions and everything. All of these religions, they're just different paths, leading to the same destination. And that destination, for the most part, is, self-realization. Back to the being, the source. Back to yourself. You get back to your own essence behind the process. And that's what I found out about, many of the religions. I guess I like the Eastern religions better because they did incorporate a lot of meditation and a lot of getting behind the process and behind this information and being alone with the observer without all the noise, which I call this, all of this projection. This is the noise. All of this. This is the noise. It's the noise that you always got to deal with. So you can get behind the noise and be alone by yourself and get to know yourself and get to just sit in the solitude of being without the noise. And then you get a better understanding of the noise and the mental process going on. And then you come back into the process and you're able to, to tweak it. And you're able to, work with the information. You understand what I'm saying? Like even in the book, like in Jesus, say if you had the faith of a mustard seed, you could tell these mountains to move, and they literally would move. And that's a fact. That if you had that faith and belief and that understanding of your own being, then you can move the information. Not the mountain. No, you can't be in the process like this, believing that you're one single man or one single woman, and go over to Mount Everest and believe that you can make it move from one place to the other. That you can move it from one place to the other. Like that. Doing it, the way that men do it. By hammering and loading it up into trucks, and etc., and moving it, and so much industry has to go into that, oil and energy and work. It's energy and everything going on, moving it, but it's such a tiny, slow, minute process. Just imagine how many years it would take, to move that mountain like that. When all you have to do is go within, in your own mental, in your own mind and intellect, and move the information that produces the mountain. The information that is being projected to show the mountain there. Move the mountain there and project it somewhere else. Boom. And there's no weight to be moved. You don't have to deal with none of the weight, none of the mess, none of what's going on in the small way, by doing it after the information has been projected. But that's a long story. And, it's a long haul away from where you are now. But anyway, I wanted to get into this on meditation, and I'm trying to get to the meditation. But I keep getting off track and talking about things related to the meditation. Because the meditation is going to lead to enlightenment, self-realization. It's going to lead to you behind your own process. And like I was saying, back in '98, I got my first computer hooked up to the internet. And I started searching around in the information that I could get on the internet. And after about, 2 years of messing around with the internet, I ran into a website called Rosicrucian.org, which was the Rosicrucian order, the ancient mystical order of the Rosy Cross. And they had, on their website, they had a booklet. I think the booklet's name was Mastery of Life. And then they had, the ancient Egyptian stuff, like the temples. They had the temples and the winged sun discs. And you could see like the inscriptions in the stone and everything. And it was like a door, like a temple door, like that. And then there was like great light coming out of the door. And on the booklet, Mastery of Life. And when I saw that, it struck a chord with me, like, yeah. So I started reading the website and everything. And the information that I saw that they were offering on the website, it was like so much information that I was looking for, so many things that I was wondering about, that even though I was still stuck kind of into Christianity in my mind, and I was still believing in Jesus and the devil and God and all these superstitious religious stuff, I was like, it's so much information here that they're offering that I want to see and I want to look into, that I will risk, going in and seeing what it's about. Even though, you can hear, and, on different websites when you look around and you're doing your research about the Rosicrucian order, the Rosy Cross, there were so many Christian organizations and agencies and different things going on, and they were saying that these people were devil worshippers, they were satanic groups and different things, secret societies, just people of an evil nature that were trying to control the world and dominate people. And not only that, you go off in there and you get hooked up with the devil, you know what I'm saying? Then you won't be able to get away and that type of thing. You understand what I'm saying? So, it was really like kind of scary. But at the same time, it was just too much information that they were saying they had. But the only way to get it was to be inside of the order. So guess what? I filled out my application and, wrote out a check for the first month's dues or whatever. And I sent it in, hoping that, they would allow me to become a member of the Rosy Cross, the Rosicrucian order. And they did. I was accepted as a member. And then I started getting monographs and everything, what they call monographs. And these are the lessons that you learn. And inside the order also you have convocations. These are meetings with members You have older members and mentees, and you would meet, and we would meet in like lodges, Masonic lodges. They had a relationship with the Masons and different things. And if you look at the Masonic, Scottish Rite Masonics, the 18th degree is the Rosicrucian degree inside of the Masonic lodges, and etc. 18th was 9. Okay. And 9 is a special number. So I got in. I was into the order, and when you get into the order, you don't come in like you're a first degree member. It's like they open the door to the temple, and they say you can come in, and you come into the first atrium, the great hall, where you just enter in. You're not going to walk in the front door into the Holy of Holies. That's farther into the temple. Farther into the temple. And only certain members get into that section of the temple. Those that are worthy of being there, and that have proven themselves to be there, to be worthy to be there. So they let you into the atrium, and you go through the atrium section of the order, learning different things, doing lessons, doing experiments, going to convocations, attending conventions, and etc. Doing different ceremonies and rituals and everything, and just learning about universal laws, learning about the process, and at a certain point you become a neophyte in the order. And I became a neophyte, and then upon becoming a neophyte, as you go farther and farther into the order, and this is like taking years. It takes you a couple of years before you reach the first degree. It took me a couple of years anyway to reach the first degree. And then I went through the first degree ceremony here in Detroit at the lodge here in Detroit. We had a house over on Grand River, and it was a lodge. The upstairs and everything, the windows were blocked off and this, that, and the other. I'm not going to go into all what it is and all what it was, but that's where I took my first degree initiation. And then I started going up to degrees, until I got past the 9th degree and became a 9+ Rosicrucian. And at a certain point, I got past all of that and just became Am. And this is where my book came in, Neophyte to Am. Neophyte to Am. It's, it's about my journey into the Rosicrucian order. Neophyte to Am. I have, basically it's my journal some pages from my journal where you go from a neophyte to am. And it's awakening to self. What I am, awakening to self. Awakening to the entity behind the process, the entity behind the characters and behind the personage that you think you are at the neophyte stage. And the order helps you to grow past the neophyte stage and to reach the higher levels of enlightenment and illumination, which, is enlightenment, illumination. And when you get to a certain level of illumination, then you enter into the illuminated, those that are illuminated in consciousness and in understanding of the process, and they're known as Illuminati. This person is an Illuminatus, and he's a member of the Illuminati. Okay? And it doesn't mean that you're evil or you're some devil worshiper or you want to destroy the world or you want to rule the world in the sense that you want to run everybody else's business or take advantage of people. It just means that you're going to practice the laws of the process. You're going to practice and work with an understanding of the process and its laws and the whole mental mechanism that you are behind. You are behind. It's your ball game. So you get into the mental alchemy of getting behind the process and running the process. As it should be. There's no way you should get lost in the personage, lost in the character, and then lose control of the process and have the mental mechanism running like a runaway freight train with your life and having all kinds of miseries, when you should be enjoying this process, And I do understand that to get the most out of the process, you have to have some good and some bad, some up and some down, to get the most, to get the most pop, to get the most bang out of having a life. So, but, like I said, Neophyte to Am was my first book. It's just a journey. Just about the journey. It's my journal. Some of the steps I was taking mentally to get where I am today. And let me tell you, to go from being the personas that you think you are now and the character that you think you are now, there's nothing but a mental shift that has to take place. A mental shift, a realization. And that's why they call it self-realization. That's why they say know thyself. It's a mental shift that takes place. There's nothing different or nothing big, nothing, that you think miraculous needs to take place, and nothing like that is going to take place other than the mental shift to take you away from the fluff of the projection and back to your being behind the projection, so that you can make things happen for yourself the way you want them to happen. You know, and let me tell you, everybody don't want a mansion and Bentleys and stacks of money, and have those kinds of problems and issues and circumstances where you have to move around with security teams. Your place has to be secured with security systems. You red beam security systems and motion detectors. And you got to have safe rooms in the house, and you always got to watch out for your family and your kids and different things like that, because there are people out here that'll hold them for different things, hostage, and you can have problems and issues and circumstances, and a lot comes with money and having all of that. I mean, it's all yours. It's all in your consciousness, and you can have it lined up any way you want to have it. But a lot of the illuminated, they don't want it like that. They don't want to go through that. They don't want the hassle. You know what I'm saying? They want to be able to just go outside, go to the restaurant like everybody else, and not be noticed. Not be anybody different than anybody else. Not be a star, not be a mega billionaire or whatever. Like they say in the movie The Matrix, when the guy was saying, "Put me back in. I want to be a movie star. Make me somebody important. Give me a little money, a little this, that, yeah, And the agents look at him like, okay, be wherever you want to be. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way with you. You can have it however you want to have it. At the end of the game, it doesn't matter whether you slept on the street or you slept on a mountaintop in a mansion. It's all the same. Did you learn anything? Did you have any fun? Did you get any lessons out of life? Did you experience tragedies? Did you experience joy and happiness? Did you love? Did you love? Was your heart broken? You understand? Did you go through the range of emotions and enjoy the process? Did you enjoy? Were you fully exercised and entertained from that point of consciousness? And that's what it's all about. Entertaining the mind from that point of consciousness that you call yourself. The one intellect that there is, the source of it all. You are it. And you shouldn't be going through, go through what you want to go through. But I'm just doing my part to wake you up to the process and let you decide, if you want to go through misery, if you want to, experience the life of poverty and lack and want, and, a life of tragedy. There's experiences to get out of that. But you probably don't want too much of that. You know what I'm saying? If you want any at all. Because you can get it midway, mid-level. You don't have to be at the bottom. You can get it mid-level. Or you can be at the top. You can be at the top and still have all the same pains and tragedies. How many rich guys have had a kid die? In a drug overdose or a tragic accident or auto accident or something, They have the same experience as the ghetto guy whose son got gunned down at the party store. It's the same experience, the same tragedy, the same pain. It's just, how you want to have it, how you want to have it served up. If you want to have it served up like that at all, if the process is yours and you can have it as you will. So, like I was saying, I got into the order, the Rosicrucian order, and they introduced me to meditation. We used to meditate at convocations and everything. You start off the convocation, with a period of meditation, and you would end on meditation. And they would meditate. They would use, they would burn incense, and they would play music, some soothing music, in the meditation. And, it wasn't the type of meditation that I ended up getting into on my own, but it introduced me to meditation and etc. And like I said, you have the monographs and everything in the studies, to take you, like here's a monograph, a Rosicrucian monograph, and you see that. And as you can see, this is the neophyte section. This is the index for the neophyte section right here in the order. And then I have here the index for, like, that's the first, second, third, and fourth degree. The initiate section. When you get into the first degree, then you become an initiate of the order. You've earned your way into that degree through the neophyte section and the first atrium section and different things. Took you a couple of years before they opened the door to the first degree. And that's the fourth degree. Let me see. And then there's this monograph here. This is the index of the fifth and the sixth degrees sections. And then you have on the back, the Rosicrucius. The cross. And you might see the cross and you might think Christianity and stuff like that. But on the cross in the middle, there's a rose. The rose is the blossoming soul, opening up and coming into full realization on the cross. the cross of life, and then the soul is the rose that's blooming right dead center in the cross of life, coming into full bloom, full understanding of what's going on. And, it has nothing to do with Christianity. Although you will have Rosicrucians that have gone through the lessons and everything that will still relate that cross to Christianity, and Rosicrucianism to Christianity. They'll relate that, they'll connect that to their Christianity. Which what I'm saying is that you have Rosicrucians that are Christians as well. In the order, the order requires to be a member that you believe in a higher power than yourself. That's a requirement to get in to the order, and then from that point of view, they try and lead you to self-enlightenment, to self-initiation. You go through all of these initiations and etc. in the degrees, but those are not the initiation that the order is trying to lead you to. Those are degree initiations. The initiation that they're trying to get you to is self-initiation into the realization of your own being. And they can get you all the way up, just take you right to the door. Right to the door. When you're standing right in the temple door of self-initiation. And you kind of looking, like, okay. And they kind of looking at you like, is he going to go in? Is she going to go in? Because they can get you to the door, but they can't get you in. You have to take the step in. You have to go through the door. You can take the horse to the water. You know he's been running. You know he's tired. You know he needs water. You take the horse to the water. But what if you take him and he don't want to drink? He's not drinking. Okay, well, walk him some more. Walk him some more and bring him back. Bring him back to the door. Bring him back, to the water. See if he's thirsty. And will he drink? They're trying to get you to the door. They're not going to give up on you. They're going to get you to the door. And let me tell you, some of the ponies never drink. They never have self-initiation. Not in this life. And that's okay. But, I'm hoping that you're not going to be one of those. That you're going to really look into this process. Try to understand what's going on. And walk into the light. The illumination. The self-realization. And then begin to control the process from your point of view. And make things happen for yourself. Mentally. And I say mentally because, a lot of people thinking, I got to bust ass. I have to bust ass to make it. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to get this in line. I got to work hard. I got to work hard in order to make it. Okay? And if that's what you think, that's what you believe, that's where your focus is at, then yeah, that's what you got to do. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to line up for you. That's what you're putting out into the ether. You are the reality behind this mental process, and that's what you put into the ether. So you better go ahead and bust ass, because that's the only way it's going to happen for you. Because that's what you believe, that's what you know, and that's the way it's going to pay off for you, just like you want it. But really, mentally speaking, you could believe I'm going to make it. I'm going to, be the most I can. I'm going to be rich and wealthy, and I don't have to bust ass. You understand? I'm going to do something I enjoy. I'm not going to work hard at it at all, and I'm going to make it. I'm going to be ultra wealthy. I'm going to be very comfortable. I'm not going to bust ass. I'm going to make it. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it's going to be. That's just the way it is in my mind. It is now. I've already made it. I've made it. Didn't bust ass. It's done. In my mind. And if that's what you believe, that's what you focus on, that's the vibe that you pushing out into this mental machine, then you better get ready to have it without busting your ass, because that's exactly what's going to happen. The process is going to obey what you are commanding, what you are asking for. And nothing is unreasonable or impossible. It's just energy arranged in a certain way. Just energy. Information under rules and regulations, arranged in a certain way, based on the way that consciousness is calling for it. Consciousness. In the mental process. So if you don't believe you have to bust ass and you're going to make it, yeah, you are going to make it. But if you believe if you don't bust ass, you're not going to make it, you're not going to have anything, nothing's going to come to you because you didn't get out and bust ass, and then you're one of these people who don't get out and bust ass. That's what you believe, right? What are you going to get? You are the source behind the whole process. You were the one who said, let there be light, and there was light. So now you're saying, I didn't bust ass, I don't deserve anything. So guess what? You're not going to get anything. You're going to have that lowly life that you believe you deserve. Get out of the character, get out of the bull. You understand? And realize what you are behind the process. And none of these rules and regulations and things that you believe, and these barriers that you're putting up based on what you think needs to happen in order to make this happen or that happen. None of that stuff is going to matter. You're going to have it as you will. That's it. And I used to meditate. I lived in Columbus, Ohio for a while, and I got into meditation, like I said, through the order. And I would go home. They would tell you to meditate, at home during the week and different things, and tell you how to meditate and different things. Different techniques for meditation. You would set up your own, sanctum in the house and everything. Where you burn incense candles and different things. And have a sacred space, in the house. And you could meditate and different things like that. And that's what I would do. I was very dedicated, faithful and loyal to my monographs and everything, because I wanted to get all I could from the exercises and from the information. I respected it, and I still do. And I would, meditate, it used to be, I would pray. And praying didn't take long, you know what I'm saying? Like a few minutes, with Christianity and stuff like that, maybe. If you went that long, but this was different. It was meditation. And I started meditating, I would try to do a half an hour, at least a half an hour, at least, when I started. Half an hour to an hour. Just make myself meditate, And I would sit there, meditating, taking the deep breaths and relaxing and just meditating, just being. And you try to be there without falling asleep and without losing consciousness, but just be alone, the observer, observing what there is to see behind the process. You try to knock off as much of the noise as possible. You get into a comfortable space, quiet. You try to get it quiet. You try to get, I prefer a dark room as opposed to one with light. I prefer not to have smells, burn, incense burning and different things like that. And because this is all information that keeps the observer away from his own being and kind of like observing the information. So you try to get away from the information and be by yourself. So you cut down as many of the sensory intakes as possible, the sensory information intakes as possible, and try to be by yourself, and go within, behind the process. And for the first couple of weeks, let me tell you, I'm meditating, I got my eyes closed, I'm meditating. Nothing is happening. Zero. It's like you got your eyes closed, and you're wasting your time, it almost seems like, you know what I'm saying? Other than, being ultra relaxed or whatever, and it's a lot I learned about and meditating. Because, when you think you're relaxed, like you lay back and you relax, I'm meditating. And then you learn, no, you're not relaxed. You still got tension in the neck and everything. There's still tension. You can still let go. There's more letting go that you can do. You can let go. Just boom, just relax and let it all go. To the point where you can actually feel your chest and the weight of your chest and your body, on your breathing, on the process of your breath going in and out, and just being to straight relaxation, where there's nothing. You're looking at that information and seeing what's going on with it. and you're just that relaxed, laid back, and then right in between falling asleep and being ultra relaxed, you're being ultra relaxed, and right in between before you fall asleep, you're still conscious. There's like a thin opening between all the information where you can slip out and just slip out of the information completely. Boom, I'm out. You're out of the information. You're offline. And, you're no longer here, so to speak. You're away from the information that you've been projecting. You're on your own in the mind, and still conscious of the personality that you had, in the process of world and illusion. So you still got that character and everything in the mental, but you're no longer in the information. So you can take that character now and go different places and do different things with that character. You can project yourself with that character into the universe. And travel the universe in character without the limitations and the rules that apply inside of the illusion of world and universe, inside the illusion of world and universe, inside the information. You're now outside the information with the same character and able to move through your mind in that character at incredible speeds, to get different places and to see different things within the mind. There's a lot going on in the mind on different wavelengths, and you're able to tap into those wavelengths and those different frequencies and etc. in character, and then return to the character that you think you are. Return to the character. After the travel and after the sightseeing and everything that you do in the universe without the body. So basically what I'm talking about is like what they call out-of-body experience, where you get out of the body, you get offline of the information, the body information and etc. And you still go out into the 5 sense projected universe. You're offline of the body information with the same character that's in memory in the universal mind. And then you travel the universe at speeds you wouldn't believe. I mean, just incredible speed that cannot be attained, inside of this process and inside of this information. The limits and everything would not allow anything to move that fast inside of this process. without disappearing, disintegrate, just breaking up and not being, because of the speed being what it is. It's not able to stay within the bounds of this dimension. But you can get out of body and out of this information, out of this five sense body information, and then travel the universe with that character still in consciousness, and go from galaxy to galaxy, from planet to planet, from place to place. You can see different things that are going on in the universe and in the galaxy, and come back. When I first started traveling like that, it was kind of difficult because, you have to learn how to control your speed, how to change direction and etc., and how to get back into this dimension and into this information stream, back into personage. And I would have trouble getting back into the information, into the bodily information. And I would come back, I would get back to the bodily information and everything, but I would have trouble situating myself back within the information, my consciousness back in the information. And the body itself would feel like it weighed like 1,000 tons. Just my arm would be like 1,000 tons. Like I'm there, but there ain't no way you're moving this thing, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just too much weight, too much whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just too much pull downward or whatever. You're there and everything, but you're not moving. And then you get, you get antsy and agitated, and you're wondering if I'm going to be able to get back, and into this and then into your other, and start to maintain your other relationships with family and different things and this, that, and the other. Am I dad? That type of thing. Can I get back? But then, you just have to relax and, allow things to slowly, acclimate themselves, to acclimate yourself back into the process, at that level. And then you're able to move. Then, you'll feel things coming back online. You're going to be able to see first, this, that, and the other, and then the sound will come later. Then you hear the sound information clicking back in and everything. And then, you notice that you're able to move again. You're able to lift these arms and do different things, and you're back into the information. But once you get out of body and start moving around like that and different things like that, and you're not really used to moving around like that and doing different things like that, you're going to have to learn how to steer, so to say, and learn how to park the car, so to speak, you know, get back in, you know, into the process again. And, it's very interesting. There's a lot of stuff you can see, a lot of things you can do. And if as you notice, the Eastern guys, the Eastern yogis, gurus, and etc., a lot of them, they meditate constantly. They're constantly leaving. They're constantly not here. You still see them sitting there and everything. You still see them. You still see the bodily information because the information is in the grid and everything. And it's being projected. It's projected information in the grid. Everybody's receiving it. You're seeing it. But the consciousness of the guru himself or the sage that's sitting there, he's going offline. He's not there. He's doing something else. And as a matter of fact, they meditate so much that they neglect to follow the rules here as far as nutrition and everything goes. And, they basically go down to skin and bone. They're very skinny. They don't spend much time, eating and drinking and trying to nourish the body and etc. I would almost say that some have stopped eating and they basically just living without eating, so to speak. You could talk to them. I have 8 in a week, 2 weeks. I'm not thinking about it. That type of deal. And you'll see that they're skin and bones, and etc. And you may even feel sorry for some of them when you see them. But believe me, they're feeling sorry for you. There's a lot to see and a lot to do at different levels of consciousness and different understandings of yourself and your own being. And I'm just trying to tell you, about the mental process here and how you can control this process through mental ability that you have. I mean, the process is obeying what you're commanding now. It's giving you what you believe, what you truly believe, what you truly focus on, and what you truly understand. This is what the process is giving you. So it's not like you're not doing it already. It's just that you're not conscious of what you're doing. You think you're, the personality that's in the mirror. So you're not in control of the process. The process is in control of you. You are the source, flipped upside down and inside out in your own situation. Which, it can't hurt the source. None of this can hurt the source. None of these bad experiences or anything can actually touch the source behind the process. But, the experiences and everything are experiences that the source is going through, by being in the process and then being in the process in such a way that it doesn't even realize that it's not the character that's going through the turbulations and etc. And that's doing all the stabbing and grabbing and different things, and thinking I need to do this and I need to do that and I need and I'm gonna go for broke, and man, I gotta get mine, and this guy over here got something, I need to cut him, I need to shoot him, I need to do this, I need to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's a tiny, that's a tiny mind. That's a tiny mind mentality. That's the source of it all, with the little universe over here, and the source of it all with no end and no eternity. Believing that he's that tiny little man, that can't seem to get anything going for himself. All he's got is this rusty little gun, and he's gonna go 2 doors over and shoot the neighbor and take his television. That's sad. Sad. There's a better way. But listen, I've been going for like 2 hours. It's like 2.5 hours, and I'm nowhere near telling you what I need to tell you on meditation and visualization and focus, visualization and focus and believing and putting into the process mentally now, no matter what the circumstances look like, no matter what kind of bullcrap you're going through. I mean, that is what it is. That's just the way the energy is arranged right now. It's arranged that way right now. That's the way you've made it. Okay? So you can have it different. But the only way to get it different is to change the way you think and what you believe and what you're focusing on in your mind. That's the way to get it different. And, I wanted to, tell you more about visualization and getting it, focusing and believing and how the process is going to manifest what you're believing, because it's already manifesting whatever it is you're thinking, believing, whatever it is in your mind, what you really believe, not what you say. You know what I'm saying? What you really believe. Not that gibbo coming off your mouth and that you're talking out in the objective world, but in your mind, what do you believe? You know what I'm saying? What do you believe? So it can be different. That's all I'm saying. It can be different, even if the situations are bad, because this is just the present alignment of energy. All you have to do is believe something else, and the alignment will start to manifest what it is you're believing. But it's difficult to believe something else when you're going through the circumstances and the situations and different stimuli, to make you think you're going through what it is, that you're having a bad time, if the guy on the front door, is banging on your door, the bailiff, you know what I'm saying, with an eviction notice, it's hard to believe right now that I'm ultra wealthy, that my bank account is on jam, with money, and I'm living the ultra life and everything. You're more focused on the guy kicking the front door, and what he's gonna do once he gets in. He's gonna put your stuff out on the street, and you're gonna have to deal with that situation. And where do I go? What do I do? And this, that, and the other. And now you're throwing all of that into the mental process. You understand? And that's what's going to be manifesting forward. But you have to get into a stable situation. And then even if it's a bad stable situation, where there's some stability, believe something else in your mind. Visualize yourself in a different circumstance. And believe it. And that's what will manifest going forward. That's what you're giving the energy, direction going forward to give you something different than what you're experiencing now. And I'm just going to say that, I'm coming up on 2 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes, I mean. So, I wanted to do a shorter video than the other ones that I did on meditation. But guess what? I think this one might be twice as long as the other videos that I've done. And I still haven't hit, what I want to hit. So I'm going to come back to you with another video on meditation, without all the other stuff that I've been talking about today. And we'll get into visualization. We'll get into the law of attraction. We'll get into focus. We'll get into some mental exercises to help you build mental strength and everything. Because if I do that now, that's going to put a couple more hours probably on this video. And it's already 2.5 hours. So, I'm going to say good night right now. And I'll be back again with meditation 2. Okay? You take care. Have a good night. And I'll be getting back with you.